So junior year came and we were still together and everything was good, like I said, but I was still going through emotional turmoil from the thing that happened sophomore year. But he was still there for me, and we were just getting along really well. And he came back to campus, and he came out back to find that his financial aid had been exhausted, pretty much. Like, he could not afford a room on campus. And so he was just going to go back home. And I was just like, absolutely not. Like, you're going to come and stay with me. You're going to squat in my apartment style living. And I could have gotten kicked out of school. Like, I could have gotten, like, yeah, suspended or expelled from school for this. But I didn't care because I was just like, no, like, my man's going to graduate. Like, this is last year. He's coming to stay with me. I moved in. We moved his stuff in. I let my roommates know, like, hey, he's going to be, like, squatting in here. And they were fine with it. I was roommates with, like, I think it's, like, 3 Deltas. They were very nice, very, just very compassionate women. Like, you could tell, like, they were just very nice, kind-hearted people. But at that time, I couldn't even bond with them or be friends with them because, like, the emotional abuse that had been going on my freshman and sophomore year still had, like, just beaten me down on top of the event that happened sophomore year. So I couldn't even bond with anybody. My social anxiety was through the roof. Like, there were times where I couldn't even leave my room because I would have a panic attack just being around people. And that's something that happens when you're in an emotionally abusive, like, or manipulative relationship. You're, like, if you have social anxiety, just expect it to act all the way up. All the way up. So yeah, he was squatting in my room and everything was okay. The beds were small as shit, so I was kind of annoyed at that. And my teacher brought up me studying abroad in Ireland, which is something I always wanted to do. And I was just like, I can't do it because, like, he was squatting in my room, he wouldn't have anywhere to stay. And I was just like, I can't go to Ireland. Like, I can't study abroad. And so I just, like, put that out of my mind. Like, this is more important. Like, him graduating is more important than me going away to Ireland. Absolutely. So yeah, he pretty much just squatted in my room. And that semester, like, things were okay. Like, we were getting on each other's nerves kind of because we were living in close quarters. But yeah, I remember, like, there was one point in time during the semester that, like, I had a really weird, odd feeling about, like, his Facebook because he was always on Facebook. And I was just like, I wonder what the messages are looking like. Like, I, at this point, had lost my mind and I was, like, the most jealous, most insecure person you could ever meet in your life. Like, from freshman year, me seeing him with a girl and not giving a fuck, to, like, junior year of me, like, constantly nonstop thinking about, like, who is he with? What is he doing? Like, like, I had lost my fucking mind at this point. So I remember I used to hang out in this chat room sometimes, like, where there was a bunch of, like, I guess you can call it cyber geeks. Like, they were all, like, into, like, technology and, like, computers and stuff like that, and I was getting into computers at the time. So they had this whole thread on that forum about how to hack into somebody's social media, like how to hack into somebody's, not just social media, anything with a password. And I was like, ooh, like, I want to tell me more, because I was really interested in, like, what he was doing behind my back. And so basically I followed the directions on the thread. It took me like 4 or 5 hours and I ended up, like, hacking my computer or putting this, like, thing on my computer. So yeah, pretty much the code that was on the computer that I put onto my laptop, it was like, if anybody puts in, like, their username or password, both of them get sent to my email. I know that's so drastic, but like I said, I had become certified crazy at this point. So he, you know, he would use my laptop and he put in his password, his username and password into Facebook, and immediately it got sent to my email. So I was like, bet. He went to sleep. I signed into his Facebook, because I had his email and his password at this point, and his Facebook was basically filled with a bunch of women, a bunch of him, like, shooting his shot, a bunch of him, like, hey, what you doing, hey, what's up, hey, like, you know, but it was not incriminating enough for me to be upset. It was a bunch of, like, innocent conversation, but it was just way too many women that he was starting conversations with, like, hey, what's up, what you doing, like, why is it, like, 20, I'm not exaggerating, it was, like, 20, like, hey, 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 like, he just, like, spammed, like, every woman on his Facebook with a hey. And I was just like, yo, am I losing my mind? Like, what is wrong with this man? Like, we are so, like, whenever we're the best, he's doing something weird behind my back. I was just like, man. So at this point, like I said, he was living with me, and I was just like, I can't kick him out, but I cursed him out to the last ends of his life, and I was just like, yo, like, once this year's over with, we're done. Like, you're done. You know what I'm saying? Next semester came. I'm gonna skip over because this story time is getting a little too long. So that was my first semester of junior year. We stayed together. Next semester came, and I turned 21 that semester. Yeah, and he planned this big surprise party for me, and, like, you know, all my friends were there. I didn't really have many friends on campus, honestly, because I was so wrapped up in my relationship and I was so depressed and negative. And, you know, he invited the group of girls that I went to parties with and stuff sometimes. And, but there was this one girl specifically that I did consider more of a friend than any of them because I had so much in common with her. And she was like a new girl. Well, she was she came my sophomore year, but I met her my junior year. And, so I had a lot of common with her. So I was happy to see her there, especially. And he, like, that he had thought to invite her because I had talked about her to him before. And so everything was good. Or so I thought. And I say so I thought because later on, right? Later on in the semester, I found out that him and the girl that he invites to my party, the one I said I consider more than as a friend because we had stuff in common. Him and this girl, I found out that they had dealings sophomore year. Like, they had dealt with each other. And I was like, how fake and fucking crazy. Like, I was just like, yo, I don't know how much more of this shit I can take. Like, this was like the last month of junior year. So this was the last month that he was going to be staying in my room. So I had found out that they were dealing with each other at one point because he let it slip. And I was just like, what? And he was just kind of like, oh, like, and now thinking back on it, like, him being him, I don't think he let it slip by accident. Like, I think that, like, he saw I was getting over him. Like, I was just tired of him, and, like, he was about to lose me. So I feel like he kind of just threw that in there because he knew that the dynamic of our relationship, I would not walk away from that. That would draw me closer to him and, like, make me more protective and territorial over him. Just a bunch of manipulative shit, you know? So when I found out about that, I, like, spazzed on him. I, like, just went all off on him. And then I went to her dorm room, and I was just like, the minute that this girl, like, if she even talks crazy out the side of her mouth, I'm just going to slap the shit. I was like, she better not come crazy. Let's put it that way. I was just like, the minute that she says anything stupid or tell me something I don't want to hear, I'm going to treat her the way I treated him. Let's put it that way. This was like a girl that I was like confiding in, and that's what made it even more outrageous. So I went to her room, and I was just like, so you was dealing with so-and-so. She was just like, yeah, like, she was shook. And I was just like, I'm not going to do anything to you. Because only off the strength that she was so scared. Like, if she would have been bold and been like, yeah, I was, God knows what would have happened in that room. Only God knows. So I was just like, you know what? I said, that's fake as shit. I said, you dealing with him. You never told me that you were dealing with him. She's like, no, well, back when we were talking, I never knew that he was even dealing with you. I'm like, I don't care. Like, at some point in time, why are you at my birthday party eating my birthday cake? Like, knowing that you were dealing with my man at one point. Like, are you fucking sick? And she was just like, you know, she was scared. She was shook. And I'm just like, you better be shook, bitch. Because I was tempted to, like, grab her off that bed and, like, toss her ass across the room. But, you know, she didn't want any problems, so I was just like, I'm gonna let this go. So I had another friend from Philly. I love girls from Philly, yo. They're just so real. They're so thorough. Like, those were like all my friends that I like really got along with at school. They were all girls from Philly. So it was this one girl from Philly. I remember confiding in this girl from Philly, and she was just like giving me advice. I was just like, yo, like, I want to be done with him, and I'm not going to his graduation either. Like, fuck him. And she was just like, I think that you're gonna regret not going to his graduation, and I think that you should go. Like, what happened back then, that was in the past. Like, I feel like you should let it go. Like, they never kissed, they never had sex or nothing like that. Like, there was no physical contact. Like, I think that you should just, like, let that go and just be cool with him and, like, go to his graduation. Like, she was like, don't give up on your relationship that easily. Like, again, this is coming from the mouth of a person, though, who thought that our relationship was so good, because she would always, like, talk about, like, our relationship, like, oh my god, I love y'all together, I can't wait till I have a man like yours, and da-da-da-da. And, so she was like, just don't give up on your man over something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go to his graduation, you don't want to miss that. So I was just like, fine, I'll go. So the semester ended, thank God. His graduation time rolled around. Me and my best friend went to his graduation. I got to see him walk and get his degree. It was one of the happiest days of my life. Like, I cried so much that day, and I was just so happy. Like, I was just so happy, and I just felt like all, like, the strain and all the bullshit that we went through, I just felt like it was all worth it. And I was just like, yo, like, I'm glad that I didn't go to Ireland for this. Like, this was worth staying for. And then on top of that, he got offered an internship, a paid internship right after. So that summer, he was interning that whole summer on Lincoln's campus, and he didn't have, like, a refrigerator or a microwave or anything like that. So I came up there, like, I bought him, like, a microwave, a refrigerator, a TV, like just so he can be comfortable. And I would just come up there and visit him. And we had like the best summer I've ever had in my life. Like I feel like I've never had a summer that would top that summer. We had the best summer I've ever had. And that is around the time, actually he proposed to me junior year, like before before he even graduated, he proposed to me. And we were gonna just elope one day. Like we were just going to like go and like get the paperwork, but something happened with it. The car broke down or something. We couldn't go. Signs from God. But it's so crazy because all my friends were telling me like, don't marry that man. Like all my male friends from like previous, I was telling about before, that I had dropped all of them. There was still one that was still around me, and he was just like, don't marry him, Shaniqua. And I was just like, you're so rude. Like, I was so, like, hurt by the fact that, like, he wasn't happy for me. But, of course, he's not going to be happy for me because I was blind in love. You know what I'm saying? And he could see things for what they really were. So, like I said, he got that internship. Everything was good that summer. And then I had to come back to school for my final year. And he was home. And that's the year that I got really, really bad food poisoning, like really terrible, horrible food poisoning my senior year. And that's when I also developed ulcers and gastritis. And I asked him like, yo, I need you to come up here because I wasn't doing well. Like it was to the point where I'll leave the story time above because I don't want to get into the story time. But it was to the point where like I didn't think I could make it, like I couldn't graduate because I was too anxious and sick. And I was like, I need you to just come up here. And just like you squatted in my room last year, I need you to just squat here for like a month or two, like until I just finish this semester. Like I just need to get through a semester. And he was just like, well, Shaniqua, I have a job, so I can't. His job was a marketing campaign job that was ending in November. This month that I'm speaking on was October. His job was ending in a month. A month. He didn't have any, he had bills, but very minute bills because he still lived with his parents and his brother. So I'm just like, you can't, your job is ending in a month. Your job is ending in less than a month. What do you mean? Like, I need you to come up here so I can graduate. And he was just like, Shaniqua, I can't do that. And like, he fully convinced me that I was the one that was being selfish and that I had no right. I have no right to ask him to quit his job. Like, I had no right. And he, like, I was just like beating myself up about it partially, and I was just like, yo, like he's right, like I'm selfish, like that's very selfish of me. And I shouldn't have asked him that. Like I started feeling bad about the fact that I asked him. And but all I know is that he wasn't there. Like there were nights where I was in the hospital. Like I said again, I'll link my story time. I was being like abused in the hospital by like these racist ass hospital workers. And I just didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody to be there. And so I became very emotionally detached from him. Because that is the one time that I really, really needed him, and he just wasn't there. Y'all would not believe how many times this camera has died or overheated while I'm shooting this video. I need to wrap this up, seriously. So like I said, I got really sick, and he wasn't there for me, and I pretty much emotionally checked out and detached. Like I just was so drained from that relationship, and I think a big reason that I got sick, like, well, part of the reason, because it was food poisoning, but another big reason I felt like I got sick is because of my relationship. Like, if you are in a relationship with someone who is emotionally abusive, a lot of the times your immune system will break down and you will be sick all the time. So that's definitely a red flag in a relationship, is if you're always, always sick. Like, during these 4 years, I got pneumonia. My lungs were collapsing and I almost died. I had sinusitis, cervicitis. Like I had so much inflammation in my body. I kept getting serious illnesses to the point where I almost died numerous times. And I honestly feel like it's because I was in a relationship with an energy vampire. And a lot of people, the red flags that they look for in a relationship is usually like, they look for red flags outside of themselves. Like they'll see how he's acting, he or she. I'm just gonna say he because I'm a girl and I date guys. They'll see how he's acting, or like, is he being sneaky? Is he like checking his phone all the time? Is he staying out late? But they don't look at internal factors that take place when you're in a bad relationship. Your body and your health breaks down and wears down when you're in a bad relationship. Your state of mind breaks down. So sometimes it doesn't even have to be, you know, looking outside of yourself or looking for your spouse, for your spouse's reactions or like their behavior to know that you're in an emotionally abusive relationship. You can know just from your body telling you. So I emotionally checked out. I made it through that semester, thankfully, and I went home and I just tried to like heal myself and get better. I was still checked out from him. He ended up coming up to my house on New Year's so that we can bring in the new year together. And we brought in the new year together, and I remember like shortly afterwards, like I just like, he was like sleeping and I just went in the bathroom and I just cried because I just knew my relationship was over. Like I just knew, like even though he was up there spending, you know, New Year's Eve with me, I just knew it was over because I had emotionally completely checked out. Like I was so detached from him. I was just like, this is over, like it's over with. And we were engaged to be married still. Like we still had intentions on getting married. We were still like planning the wedding. We were still, you know, we were making wedding plans, like trying to pick a date. Like I was looking for dresses, like, but I knew it was over. Like I knew it was over. I just didn't know how to tell him that it was over, because during this time I was just like, are you really gonna throw all this away? Like all this time you spent with this man, 4 years, like you're gonna just throw all this away? Why? Just because you're not feeling it no more? Like maybe you should just, you know, stick it out. So if you watch my manifestation video, I talk about how I manifested a dreadhead, like that guy from my video. He plays a large factor in how my relationship ended. That's why I said in that video that he like catapulted my spiritual journey forward. Like when I met him, or like when I started dealing with him, my spiritual journey like took off. And I remember telling him like I'm falling for this other guy, and like I'm dealing with this other guy. And of course he was extremely hurt, extremely upset. And again, I started to second guess myself, and I was just like, oh God, like what am I doing? And I just felt horrible about it, but I could not help the way I felt about this other guy. And my fiance was like, well, you should just come up here to see me, because he had graduated by the time. He's like, you should come up here to see me and we can work this out. Like we can work this out. So I traveled to go see him, even though I wasn't supposed to be traveling because of my illness. I still went to go see him. And when I got to his house, he pretty much confessed to me that like he had been cheating on me our entire relationship. Now, why on earth, if I'm trying to break up with him and I'm falling for someone else, would he even feel the need to even give that information to me? Like, right? He could have just let me walk away and everything could have been done and scot-free, right? Of course not. He couldn't let me do that because he's a narcissist, a covert narcissist. So he has to have the big bang, like the finale. Like he has to be the one to win. And so that was his way of winning. Like, oh, you're cheating on me? You're leaving me for somebody else? We'll see about that, pretty much. And like he pretty much begged me to come see him so we can work it out, and then just dropped that bomb on me. Like, yeah, I've been cheating on you this whole time. I cheated on you with like 5 girls or whatever. But he played like he was very remorseful, but he wasn't remorseful. Like he had been keeping this a secret for years. And I was just like, you were living in my room. You were sleeping next to me every night. How can you do that without any guilt unless you're a sociopath? Like that's what I remember thinking. I remember thinking that he was a sociopath. And now thinking back on it, like I wasn't too far off because he's a narcissist and he has no empathy. But I told him, I said, I think you're crazy. I think you're fucking crazy. And I think that I'm glad to be done with you. Yeah. So after he told me this, I got really sick. Like he basically, that was like the grand finale. Like he sucked like the entire life out of me just from that alone. Like the fact that I had traveled all the way up there just for him to tell me that. I was just like, you could have told me that on the phone, or like, why would you make me come up here in the snow while I'm sick, told him let's work it out, and then drop that bomb on me? Like he's a disgusting human being. And so I was just like, yeah, we're done. I was like, we're done. Like I don't know what he thought that was. If he thought that was going to be like the grand thing that was going to make me like draw in closer to him and like stop dealing with the other guy I was dealing with. But no, I was completely checked out already. So I was just like, yeah, bye. I'm glad that this happened. Goodbye. And he cried and carried on as if he gave a fuck so bad. Like, but he didn't really care. Like, come on now. So I ended up leaving. I went back to school, and the guy that I had manifested, he really wanted nothing to do with me, because at this point he was just like, you and your man, like, even if y'all are broken up, I feel like there's still something. I feel like I don't want to be in the middle of no drama. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you. So then he stopped dealing with me. So I was really sick and alone at that point. And I was so mad and so heated. And I was so sad. It was like so many emotions at one time. Like, I felt so broken and defeated. I was up there at college. My best friend that was there, she had transferred to another college. I didn't have my fiance anymore. I didn't have the guy that I actually had feelings for. He didn't want anything to do with me. I was physically ill. I had stomach ulcers. Like, I felt like I was going to die. Like, it was so much on my shoulders. And then there was the guilt from even cheating on my fiance in the first place. That was still weighing on me. But then there's like this conflicting feeling of like, thank God I did that though, because I wouldn't know anything and I would have walked down the aisle with that man. It was so many conflicting feelings, and I was just so like, my body was just done for. Like, it was completely broken down. I couldn't eat at all. I dropped down to like 101 pounds. I think at one point I dropped down to 98 pounds. It was so bad. It was bad. Like, I don't even know how I lived through that. And like, my fiance, he was still calling me on the phone. Like, we would still talk sometimes that semester, but it was just mostly like an argument. Like, I would scream and yell at him until like one time I screamed at him until I passed out. Like, it was that bad. And I feel like the energy vampire that he is, he took joy in this because he was so, like, if you know what a narcissist is, you know that there's something called narcissistic injury, where you do something to them to hurt their ego, and they take it so hard that they feel like they have to get revenge. So I feel like I caused him a narcissistic injury, and he just basically set out to fucking torture me. And he like played off the fact that I was guilty. He would play off that fact, and he would just, every time we would talk, he would bring up the fact that like, oh, you better hope that this information doesn't get around because people are going to look at you a certain way. Like, he was trying to like shame me. Like, he was trying to make me feel so ashamed of what I had done. But a part of me, like I'm an Aquarius, right? I have a Pisces moon, but I'm an Aquarius. So my Pisces moon is so sensitive, but Aquariuses, if you don't know, we are very savage. So there were times where he would try to make me feel bad about what I did, and I'd be like, I don't feel bad about it, and I'll do it again, motherfucker. Like, it was weird. Like, I was in like a weird state of mind. Like, I was like throwing it in his face that I had did it because I was so enraged, but then I felt guilty at the same time. Anyway, it was bad. It was really, really bad. So that's how our relationship ended. And he was like telling me that for my graduation, he's going to come and like give me my engagement ring, because he had never bought me my ring. He was like, I want to give you an engagement ring during graduation. And like, he was just being so nice to me, but at the same time guilt tripping me, but being so nice to me at the same time and sweet and loving. But by that time, like I said, I had checked out, and I was just like, there's no going back. There's no going back. So ever since then, like, I've just pretty much been trying to recover from that relationship. It turned me into like a very paranoid person. It turned me into a very angry person. And I remember one time my sister crying and telling me like she feels like he broke my spirit. Like, he just broke my spirit. Which he did. Like, I went on to that campus like a very like lighthearted, loving, caring person, very naive. Even though what I had been through in my life in terms of my childhood, I still went to that campus. Like, I still went on that campus with a sense of security and like headed in the right direction. And he took that from me. He took that from me because that's what the enemy does. Like, let's be real here. Like, if you ever experience spiritual warfare, then you know, like, if you have any type of goodness or type of light in you, like, there are going to be people who are going to try to steal it from you. And he stole that from me. He stole my light from me. And I remember, like, after that relationship, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Like he abused my body. Like, he didn't physically hit me, but he abused my body so bad, and I just allowed him to do it. And I remember I couldn't look at myself. Like, I couldn't like stand myself, because I'm just like, how did you allow somebody to treat you this badly? Like, how did you let yourself get to this point where you can't even like face yourself? And it's like there was one point where I had this surgical procedure done, and I wasn't supposed to have sex after, like, for like 6 weeks, because then I could get an infection. And he asked me to have sex with him that night, and he didn't care that like I can get an infection, that I could die. And I remember that I didn't care either, and I just let him do it because I just didn't care about myself, because I saw myself through his eyes only. Like, I saw my worth through him. And I remember, like, when he told me he cheated on me, I remember saying to him, like, the girls you cheated on me with, like, they took the best part of me. Like, you're my best, like, you are my better half. Like, you're the best part of me. And I genuinely believe that. I believe that he was the best thing about me. And that's just sad to think about now. It's not sad because now I know better. Like, now I feel like so complete and whole and comfortable within myself. But I remember saying that. I remember saying she took the best part of me. She took the best part of me. And I genuinely believe that. Which is, it's just crazy to me. I'm just glad that I made it out alive. I'm glad that I never got married to him. I'm glad that, like, I didn't have his kid, because then that's where the cycle continues. Like, someone who's been emotionally abused, like me, who's hypersensitive, and then you meet a manipulator and an abuser, and then they get together and they're the perfect match, and then they have a baby, and then that baby will turn out to be broken, and that baby will grow up to be either an abuser or a person who gets abused, and then the cycle just keeps on continuing. So I feel like with the end of that relationship was the end of this toxic cycle that I see recycling itself in my family, you know? So yeah, I'm not fully back to myself. I feel like after experience like that, you never fully go back, especially being knowledgeable about the fact that narcissists do this purposely. Like, that's what's really hard to accept, that like all of that was done calculated. Like, it wasn't he just was stupid and didn't know better. He calculated all of that. And I think that's the most disgusting part, because I thought that he was really my friend. Like, at the end of the day, like, even if we didn't have a relationship, I thought, like, this man is really my friend. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope that you got something out of this situation. I have a video coming on finding love after abuse, because I did find it after. It's definitely a process. It's a process that you go through of healing, and before you can even find someone who is healthy for you. But I'm in a situation right now where I'm very happy with the person that I'm dealing with, and I'm very happy within myself. I'm very happy with the way my life is going, like direction my career is going in. And so there is light at the end of the tunnel. And in terms of him, I don't know what he's doing with his life. I don't care what he's doing with his life. And so you do get over it. And I hope that this video taught everyone that if you feel like something is wrong, then trust your intuition and get out of that situation, and don't wait for the person to plant seeds of insecurity inside of you to blossom and to make you turn on yourself. Because so many people are out here looking to make you turn on yourself. If you have any ounce of like light or compassion or love within you, people envy that and they see that as a threat to them, and they will try to find a way to make you turn against yourself. And he successfully did that to me, but now I'm getting back to myself, and I feel unstoppable now because of what he put me through. So he just made me a stronger person in the end. I hope that this video was helpful. If you have a similar experience, please share it down below. I always like to hear from you guys, of course, and we're always here to support each other in the comment section. And yeah, this video went on way too long. I'll have to like wrap this up now. But I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that if you didn't learn anything from this, maybe it was entertaining. I don't know. But yeah, I hope that, like, I just hope that no one else goes through this situation. If you're in it, get out of it. And if you are out of it, you will heal from it. Trust me. Alright guys, so make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.